Incel, red pill, black pill, looks maxing. These are probably one of the biggest buzzwords flooding social media for young people in 2025. What began as a fringe discourse on anonymous forums like 4chan has evolved into a transnational digital subculture that frames masculinity through resentment, hierarchy, and despair. Incel communities, defined by the self-identification as involuntary celibate, often reinterpret romantic and sexual rejection through a deterministic worldview that blames women and feminism for male suffering. From Douglas Kellner's political economy perspective in media industry, political economy, and media cultural studies on articulation, these ideologies do not emerge in a vacuum. Digital platforms, driven by engagement-based algorithms, amplify extreme content because outrage, grievance, and fear are profitable. The circulation of alpha male and child archetypes set in opposition to figures like version of sub-5 reproduces a rigid model of masculinity defined by dominance, emotional repression, and heterosexual conquest. These narratives reinforce what is commonly referred to as toxic masculinity, while simultaneously obscuring the structural forces, economic precarity, social isolation, and platform capitalism that produced male insecurity in the first place. Patriarchy, ironically, does not only harm women, but also men themselves, as it fosters insecurity of one's own identity and places pressure on others. In fact, men who do not assert themselves in a dominant manner are often then weak and unworthy of being considered real men, even though these are precisely the traits that many women actually value. In Toxic Masculinity, Man Meaning and Digital Media, Professor Jacob Johanssen highlights that online spaces such as social media or gaming communities are where negative masculine ideologies fest most easily, since these spaces are dominated by men and provide a voice to individuals who are otherwise unrecognized in society. Thus, these people easily attach to the media they consume and the communities they join. So, beside incels, which other communities share similar traits? Mostly male, often socially misfit, neurodivergent, generally looked down upon, but still thriving and growing everywhere. You can probably guess, is the Otaku community. Otaku, everyone's heard of them. It's a group passionate about Japanese manga, anime, and other 2D media. Normally, people don't speak very fondly of the term, but if you're an otaku like me, it's just hard not to get completely absorbed in the things you love. Being in the community, I know that a lot of otaku and incels, but does that really mean they also hold toxic masculine beliefs? In my opinion, the otaku community both reflects and resists toxic masculinity and patriarchy. In anime and other media consumed by this community, female characters are often shaped by the male gaze and commercial interpretations of media industries. These representations are products designed to maximize effective attachment and consumption. Girls in anime are often portrayed as exaggeratively cute, innocent, naive, and submissive, and this is the perfect standard for women in East Asia. This idealized portrayal of women, though rooted in patriarchal ideas, produces an interesting outcome. Consumers of this media end up internalizing and adapting the traits and ideals of these characters. Professor Kanon notes that while media texts are shaped by dominant political and economic forces, audiences are not passive. Instead, they actively reinterpret, negotiate, and sometimes subvert the ideology embedded within media texts. I'll dive deeper into this idea in a case study from Love Life, the otaku and cross-dressing culture. Love Life fans start by being drawn to women and want to follow a series that's entirely female. Having a cast that's all male or female is pretty normal in Japanese media. It prevents viewers from feeling awkward when a character of their own gender appears alongside someone they like. Over time, however, watching cute female characters behave kindly and gently, with stories centered around friendship and innocence, leads to some fans grow up adapting those traits themselves. Many become crossdressers, dressing like women without necessarily being gay. In many East Asian societies, where cultural values remain conservative and social conformity is strongly emphasized, openly challenging gender norms is often discouraged. As a result, crossdressing rarely appears as an explicit act of rebellion. I shall host article categories that Bind helps explain this context. Your research in Tokyo Holt shows how male-bodied people representing femininely like Joso or Otokonoko are deeply tied to emotional survival and social recognition. In otaku spaces, femininity become a learned language, shaped by media texts and fan communities. From Kellner's perspective, the same patriarchal system that commodifies femininity can inadvertently produce subjects who reject masculine dominance altogether. Conclusion: By applying Kellner's framework of articulation, this video argues that fandom should be understood as a politically and culturally complex space where gender ideologies are both reinforced and contested.